just I don't even know if like Mike and Dylan know we're here because I didn't tell them yet.
Hey everybody, Emma here, also known as 8vinyllow, bringing you all another video. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to take a vinyl community pilgrimage down to Godfrey, Illinois to go visit vinyl community's very own Billy Hurst's record store, Riverbend Records. This has been a place that I have been wanting to visit ever since it opened. It has been on my musical record collecting bucket list, and like I said a couple of weeks ago, I finally had the opportunity to go do that. Not only was I able to go visit Riverbend, but my friend Mariken and her husband Jared, part of the youngest members of the VC, they ended up coming up for the weekend, and we kind of made a record collecting mini impromptu trip out of the whole thing down to Riverbend, went to some of the stores near me, so it was just a really fun weekend of friendship, music, and record collecting. So this video is going to be kind of my record showcase and haul from Riverbend Records. I'm going to be kind of sharing my experience visiting Riverbend for the first time, meeting Billy for the first time, and of course showcasing the vinyl that I picked up from that trip. So before I get into any of that, I'm going to start off by kind of sharing the story about how this came to be. So like I said, Mariken and her husband Jared, they drove up for the weekend. We had plans to go to Riverbend. We didn't tell Billy we were coming. Saturday morning rolls around, we get in the car, we drive down to Godfrey. It's about a couple hours, 2.5 hours from where I'm located. We get to Riverbend about an hour after it opens. It was actually pretty crowded in there. Billy was helping customers, people were digging through records, and so I nonchalantly tell Mariken, I'm just going to kind of walk in and just start flipping through the new arrivals. So we walk in, start flipping through the new arrivals. Billy's still, kind of busy doing customer stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go talk to him. So once the customer stuff was kind of all over, I walked up to Billy, still not placing me yet, and I go, hey, do you have any Cheap Trick? And he starts rambling off about like selling promos or something and this and that, and then all of a sudden it like hits him like, oh my goodness, like I know who you are. So that was really funny how that kind of came to be. So we were able to meet up with Billy. We talked to him a little bit. Brandon, the OG of the vinyl community, Mr. Hall of Fame, and I'm going to link all these channels down below. But he was there. He came a couple hours after we got there. We ended up spending some time at Riverbend, then going out to lunch and coming back and doing more damage to our wallets. So overall, an amazing, amazing day. Right off the bat, I want to share that, and I'm not just saying this because it's Billy and it's the vinyl community and this and that. I sincerely mean this. Riverbend is now in my top 3 favorite record stores that I've ever been to, just ever. It is so warm and inviting. I love what Billy and his wife did with the decoration. Like, you see it in videos and you see it on Instagram and things like that, but you don't really get to feel that until you're actually there. So it was just a beautiful store. The selection was amazing. And then, of course, Billy and Brandon and everybody else that works there, they were just so polite and kind and friendly, and it was just a really great environment to be in. So thank you, Billy, for that. But with that, I'm going to get into showcasing the records that I picked up at Riverbend. The first thing I grabbed is another copy of this. This is my 3rd copy of this particular release on vinyl. This is Cheap Trick's newest album that came out earlier this year, Cheap Trick's In Another World. Fantastic release by the greatest band in the whole world. I did a whole review on this album when it came out, so if you're interested, I will link that down below. In that review, I talked about a packaging error that occurred with the different variants that were out there. There's 3 different variants. There's your standard black vinyl, there's your indie exclusive for record stores and this and that, indie exclusive blue and white splatter vinyl, and then there's a specific Target exclusive picture disc. Now, there was some sort of packaging error, and even people in the community, vinyl community, this happened to them. In the indie exclusive blue and white splatter packaging, which you can see the hype sticker here, people were getting the Target exclusive picture disc, which I know pissed a lot of people off. I mean, it's cool, but if you're not a huge fan and like those kind of like quirky error things like I do, you wanted the blue and blue and white splatter. You didn't want a picture disc. I mean, picture discs are fun. You know, I like collecting them, especially if they're Cheap Trick, but if you want to listen to an album, that's probably not the best way to go about listening to it. So the blue and white splatter that I ended up getting, I have all the variants. I have the Target exclusive, blah, blah, blah. The blue and white splatter that I ended up picking up was the original blue and white splatter, which I'm very happy about. However, it has been a goal of mine in all the record stores that I visit to try to find one of these packaging errors with the hype sticker that's supposed to be the indie exclusive, but the actual picture disc is inside. So Billy did have this, you know, he was telling me it's all in the weight and you can definitely feel the difference. So this is way heavier. You can kind of feel around and tell that this is a picture disc. So of course the Cheap Trick fanatic in me needed another copy because it's one of those quirky things. I probably won't even open this, but it's just one of those cool things to have in the collection. The next album is a gift, and we actually did a collaboration on Mariken's channel, which I'll also post that video down below, in which we showcased gifts that we gave each other during this trip. But this was something that Mariken bought me at Riverbend, and she has single-handedly been building up my Queen collection. This is Queen Jazz, and what's very cool about this particular issue of this vinyl is that it's the half-speed mastered. And Mariken was telling me, you know, if you're ever going to get this album, you need to get this one. So she ended up picking this up for me. Queen Jazz originally came out in 1978. And, you know, I enjoy Queen. Mariken's been building up the collection for me, but I do really enjoy Queen, and it's really nice to finally have this particular album on vinyl and the half-speed mastered. So I am very excited to listen to this. I'm sure it's going to sound amazing. All right, the next thing that I picked up came out in 1985 on Alligator Records. This is one of the greatest blues, electric blues collaborations of all time, in my opinion, an album that I've been wanting to grab for a long time. This is Showdown with Albert Collins, Robert Cray, and Johnny Copeland. The best of the best in terms of blues musicianship, electric blues musicianship. What a wonderful collaborative effort by three of the greatest blues electric guitarists of all time. I mean, they don't overstep each other. They play with each other. They have their unique styles, and they throw it all into this record. So fantastic record if you're a fan of the blues, which you know I am. You need this. I needed it. Finally have it. Saw this and could not leave it behind. This is the Anthology of British Blues, Me and the Devil, which is a compilation album of course British blues music that was originally released in 1968. One of the biggest reasons why I picked this up is because it had songs from Tony T.S. McPhee, of course from the Groundhogs being one of my favorite British blues bands and just bands in general of all time, one of my favorite guitarists of all time, a severely underrated guitarist, so definitely wanted to add this to the British Blues collection. Now, I've been really getting into Johnny Cash thanks to Mike over at Retro Spin Vinyl. The youngest members of the VC, when we went to Nashville and did that whole documentary, we really bonded over Johnny Cash and his music, going to the museum, Mike telling stories, and just really getting us into Johnny Cash. And I've been getting really into Johnny Cash myself. So I've been wanting to pick stuff up for the collection, finally grabbed his debut album that was released on Sun Records, Johnny Cash, with his Hot and Blue guitar. This is a 2014 reissue of this on 180 gram vinyl, and I'm very excited to be building up my Johnny Cash collection and to have this particular album in the collection. The next album is a recommendation from Billy. The second time we went back and met up with Billy and Brandon after lunch, I asked Billy, you know, if you could give me one recommendation, I'll buy it right now. I don't care what it is, it could be anything. What would it be? So we're going around, he's picking up some stuff and looking at it and then saying, I don't know. Well, when he saw this, it wasn't an I don't know, he said this one. So I don't know a lot about this. I still haven't listened to it yet. Over winter break, that is the plan, to listen to all of these records. You can see they're still sealed, so I'm extremely behind. But he put this in my hand. This is Billy's recommendation, Amigo The Devil, Born Against. And all I know about this album is that it was released this year, and it's some sort of like folk, horror, Americana type sounding music. The reviews I read online, I haven't listened to it. I didn't even sample it because the first time that I listened to it is going to be on this vinyl. But from the reviews that I've been reading, it's pretty good. So I'm really excited to dig into this. I think it's going to be an extremely unique listen. And yes, Billy, I will give you my review on this when I finally get around to it. Saw this there, the Lost album from 1970, and had to get it because I am part of the vinyl community after all. This is Randy Holden, Population 2, has made its rounds in the vinyl community over the last couple of years. The Blue Chair Guitarist, again, the Lost album from 1970. Fantastic blues rock, hard blues rock, psychedelic sounding release. Best song on here, and I have sampled this before. This is the first time, though, that I saw it in a store, so I grabbed it, and it is signed. My favorite song is on side B. The first song blew my mind. Absolutely fantastic. So Noble Records, Dylan, he put up a wonderful video on this album with Randy Holden, so I'll link that down below, but it's made its rounds in the VC over the last few years, and this was the first time I saw it, so I told Billy I will take that. The last one that I picked up is 1991, Stevie Ray Vaughan, The Sky is Crying. This is the music on vinyl release, and this almost completes my Stevie Ray Vaughan collection. This was, of course, released after Stevie passed away. It's a compilation of songs that were recorded early on. I think, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me down in the comments below, I think that Jimmy put some of this together, or all of this together. I don't know the whole story, but the one thing that I do want to talk about on here is his cover of Little Wing, which is the reason why, of course, I got this album. One, it's Stevie Ray Vaughan, but to have finally this particular version of Little Wing on vinyl, music on vinyl release, you know it's going to sound amazing. I know that I will tear up, so had to grab this as well. And with that, that wraps up my Riverbend Records haul. As you can see behind me, I have the custom slip mat that Billy actually sent me. He surprised me with it, so thank you, Billy, for sending this my way. I don't know if he has any more, but I will link all of his information down below if this is something that interests you. It's very, very cool. But that wraps up my haul. We also went to a couple other stores and picked up some things, so I'm just going to put that in my regular monthly video haul kind of at the end of the month. You can see some other things that I grabbed while Marika was in, but for this video, I wanted to strictly leave it to Riverbend. So, Billy, thank you so much for that experience on Saturday. Brandon, it was so nice to meet you. Billy, it was so nice to meet you as well. We had such an amazing time, and I definitely cannot wait to be back. So if any of you find yourself in the St. Louis area, in Illinois, please go check out Riverbend Records in Godfrey, Illinois. You will not regret it. That's all for this video, everybody. Hope that all of you are doing well, staying safe, and I will see you all for my next video. Bye, guys.